You see him on the news.
CNN.com contributor, Dean Obeidallah. So, Dean,
Watch him at comedy clubs.
When I say Mecca, do you think of a holy place or an urban clothing line?
Read his articles. And you hear him on the radio. The Dean Obeidallah Show is on live right here on SiriusXM Progress, channel 127.
And welcome to the show, brothers and sisters of the resistance. It is Friday, November 2nd. Oh my gosh, we are so close to Election Day. We've been counting it down. I feel like I'm counting down to like a huge deadline for a project or Christmas / Hanukkah / Ramadan, something huge. I mean, this seems so big, and my level of obsession with this election, in a word, is unhealthy. That's the word. It's really unhealthy. So I can't wait for the election day to be over, assuming it's a good result. And I think it will be. We are 4 days from literally the most important election of my life. I imagine most people listening, you feel the same. We had the Tom Steyer town hall last night. We played from Greensboro, North Carolina, that I moderated. We had a woman, I won't forget it, Carol, 72, stood up and said, "This is the most important election of my life, of my children's life, of my grandchildren's life, and my great-grandchildren's life." And if you need any more motivation to vote, let me get some help from some of our friends. Let's have President Obama and Oprah Winfrey help us out. Here is President Obama today in Florida campaigning on behalf of Andrew Gillum and Bill Nelson, the senator. Here is clip number 2.
The real reason I came down to Miami, because this Tuesday might be the most important election of our lifetimes. Politicians will always say that, but this time it's actually true. The stakes really are that high. The consequences of any of us staying home really are more dangerous, because America's at a crossroads. Hopeful that out of this political darkness, I see a great awakening of citizenship all across the country. I can't tell you how encouraged I've been to see so many people getting involved for the first time, or the first time in a very long time, marching and organizing and registering people to vote.
That's what a president sounds like. There you go. Marching and organizing. And here was a little bit more of Obama, 30 seconds more about being actually very practical. What can this election actually do? Can it erase all the bigotry and racism and sexism of Donald Trump? And he gave us a great response. That's a short clip. Here's number 8.
True that one election is not suddenly going to eliminate poverty in this country. One election won't eliminate racism or sexism or homophobia. One election will not suddenly give everybody health care all at once, or ensure that every child in Florida gets the kind of education they deserve. It's not going to happen just in one election, but it'll be a start. It'll be a start. It'll make things better.
There's a light in this abyss of darkness that is the Trump regime. It's not even a presidency. I call it a Trump regime. I hope we all call it a regime. And that's what it is. And this is the darkest time I can remember. And I've said for a year that Election Day is Judgment Day. I believe it in my heart it is. It's a question of values and vision. What do you want for this nation? It's far beyond policy. Do you want a nation that Donald Trump envisions? One that celebrates cruelty? That elevates racist and bigots and white supremacists? A nation where women who come forward to say they've been sexually abused are not believed. We don't move forward but backwards. They're liars. Or do you want a nation that celebrates compassion and caring, where we are treated the same and we have leaders who do not demonize because of your race or your religion, your ethnicity, or your sexual orientation? It's our choosing. And for those wondering, should you vote or not, I know if you're African American, you know the history of the sacrifice of African Americans. But for those white people out there, or brown people who are compassionate and caring, but still wonder if your vote really matters, well, here's Oprah Winfrey from last night. And here's a little bit longer clip than we played yesterday about why she is voting and why everyone should vote, and the sacrifice of so many who came before us for simply the chance to walk into a voting booth and pull a lever. And people were killed for that. And here's Oprah. Here's clip number 3 from yesterday.
So when I go to the polls and I cast my ballot, I cast it for a man I never knew. I cast it for Otis Moss Sr., who walked 18 miles one day just for the chance to vote. And when I go into the polls, I cast the vote for my grandmother, Hattie Mae Lee, who died in 1963 before the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and never had a chance to vote. I vote for her. And when I stand in the polls, I do what Maya Angelou says, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. For all those who paved the way that we might have the right to vote. And for anybody here who has an ancestor who didn't have the right to vote, and you are choosing not to vote wherever you are in this state, in this country, you are dishonoring your family. You are disrespecting and disregarding their legacy, their suffering and their dreams when you don't vote.
And that was Oprah. And in that appeal, you had President Obama and Oprah Winfrey appealing to the best in all of us. Contrast that to Donald Trump. And I won't play any of his clips. I won't subject you to that stupidity. I want you to be smarter. When you listen to Trump, I think you actually go down an IQ point. The longer you listen to him, it just burns away brain cells. Yesterday, at one of his rallies in Missouri, typical, talking about the caravan, saying there's bad people in there, and quote, if you don't want America to be overrun by masses of illegal aliens and giant caravans, you better vote Republican. End quote. If you want your children to have a country, vote Republican. And here's the question. Why is it Donald Trump, who keeps trying to tell us the economy is so good, and on paper it is, why is he not focused more on the economy? Unemployment's at 3.7%. Why is he using racism? Here's a simple answer. Donald Trump knows his base. He knows what his base is about. And he knows his base will only respond to one thing: racism. He is giving them what they need, what he believes they need and what they do need. And because the reality is, if he were to make an economic pitch to his base, it's not going to work. And let me lay it out, because today we had the jobs report. It said about 250,000 new jobs created last month. That was a very solid report. Unemployment still at 3.7%, hasn't moved. The reality, though, is if this economy was so good, when Donald Trump took office, January 2017, the labor participation rate, which is everyone in the country who is 16 and older, the percentage of Americans who are either working or looking for a job. When he took office, it was 62.9%, January 2017. Well, if this was a booming economy, a miracle, as Trump likes to say, that number you would think had gone up significantly, maybe 64%, 65%, 66%. So where is it today? It is exactly at 62.9%. Actually, it went down a little bit. Now it went back up to 62.9%, meaning those people who were out of work before are still out of work. Those people giving up looking for a job are still giving up looking for a job. There's no economic message for those people. And while job wages went up today, 3.1% on an annualized basis, in reality, because inflation has jumped, that's only a 0.6% average income in your wages. 0.6, not even 1%. And here's the truth. And I always say this because I'm not trying to say elitist. I'm trying to give you the numbers here. Trump's base is white men and white women who don't have college degrees. That's what they are. And there's a vast, stark contrast. White men with a college degree overwhelmingly disapprove of Donald Trump. White men without a college degree love Trump. Same thing with women. Well, for that base, if that's your base, they've suffered the most. The average income in America for someone without a high school diploma is $488 a week. For those with a high school diploma, it's $668. Talking about $20,000 to $30,000. They have the same purchasing power today that they had 40 years ago, or their fathers or mothers had 40 years ago. Their wages have barely been up since 2000. They've gone up about 3%. So his base either has no jobs, or the ones that have jobs, there are a lot that have jobs, they're on their lower income levels. And guess what? They've not seen any raises, but they've seen their gas prices go up by 30%. They've seen their health insurance prices go up. They've seen inflation with rent and with products for your home. They've seen rental costs go up. So they've actually had pay cuts. So Donald Trump going out and telling them, look what I've done for you in the last 2 years. Look how much money you're making. Sure, if he was at his country club making that spiel, that would resonate. But when you're making it to Donald Trump's real base, there's nothing there. There is no benefit to them. But Donald Trump knows his base. Even if the economy had helped him a little bit, because if he said to them, do you have more money in your bank account today than you did 2 years ago? I'm sure most would say no. Because most Americans don't have much in their bank accounts. That's the way we live. About 35% of Americans could not afford a $1,000 bill if they had a healthcare emergency. Now, they don't have that money. So that's the America. That's the real America. And that is so much of Trump's base. But Trump knows this, the same thing we know. They didn't vote for Donald Trump, as studies have shown us, because of economic anxiety. That's not the truth. Trump knows his base. He knew it before these reports came out. They voted for Donald Trump because of fear of demographic change and fear of loss of status. That's the official term, loss of status, AKA all of them white supremacy. And not the white supremacy of burning a cross on someone's lawn. And we probably need some other term. No, forget it. We're going to use white supremacy. That's what it is, but it's different. It's not white supremacy that's violent. It's white supremacy in that, hey, why don't you talk about white people? Hey, I don't get a job. I'm white. What about, it's all about Black Lives Matters and Latinos. What about white people? No one talks about us, and I can't get a promotion because I'm white. So Donald Trump plays to that. That is ultimately white supremacy. He's playing to that. And he knows that. So that's why he's going out to his rallies. And instead of touting the jobs report, and he'll mention it, but instead of making that the focus, it is the caravan. And this is exactly the same as Jim Crow laws, because Jim Crow laws were created by white people in power to make lower income white people feel better about themselves by saying, hey, your life might suck, but look, it's better than the black people. So you got that going for you. Well, Donald Trump's doing that, but he's using the people, the others, the outsiders, the brown people, to build up animus towards them and hatred to them and say to them, look how lucky you are. You're in America. You're not outside the wall, so your life might suck. You might not have got a raise in 2 years. You might even lost your job under my administration because of my terrible tariffs. But at least you're on this side of the wall, aren't you? Feel better about it. And this horrible menace that I'm going to keep ginning up, this phantom menace that I've created, guess what? I alone, Donald Trump, can save you from that. Just like Jim Crow laws can save you from the black menace coming in there and sitting with you or dating your women or swimming in your pools. The exact same mentality, folks. And we learned something today. There was a New Yorker article that came out interviewing Michael Cohen, Trump's longtime fixer. And a shock to no one, Michael Cohen said Donald Trump in recent times, not years ago, said racist stuff about black people. We'll file that under news to nobody. We know that. That might just energize his base. And here's a couple of quotes from the article. It says, Cohen told the New Yorker, we were going from the airport to the hotel. We drove through what looked like a rougher neighborhood. Trump made the comment to me saying that only the blacks could live like this. And another time during the campaign, this is not years ago, during the campaign, Cohen recalled a discussion at Trump Tower with Trump and said, hey, the rally on TV, I noticed that the crowd was largely Caucasian. And Trump said, he offered this observation to the boss. And I told Trump, quote, that the rally looked vanilla on television. And Trump responded, that's because black people are too stupid to vote for me. That's because black people are too stupid to vote for me. You don't need Donald Trump. We don't need Michael Cohen to tell us. There's a reason Donald Trump uses low IQ about Maxine Waters and dumb and unintelligent about black people all the time. That's who Donald Trump is. So I think we understand. Donald Trump is a racist. He's a white supremacist, but he understands his base and they understand him. They see him in themselves and vice versa. That's why Donald Trump is not making this about the economy. His closing message is about, they say on the media, he's pushing immigration. No, he's pushing hate. That's what Donald Trump's doing, folks. And that's what's going on here. This is where we are. So look, we're going to take a quick break. Come back, take calls. We have so many guests tonight. My commitment to have candidates on and have people on who can help us win Tonight we have two great candidates running for Congress coming on. And at the bottom of the next hour, we have Kathleen Unger from Vote Riders to talk about voter ID laws. Also, if you're challenged on Election Day at a polling station, what can you do? She's a lawyer. Her whole thing is about voting rights. We're going to talk about that and different types of remedies to help people. In the third hour, we do our What Just Happened segment. But we'll take a break, and you're my guest for the next about 20 minutes. In between, we'll take calls here and there, but I'd love to hear from you. Are there races that we're not covering, issues that I should be talking about? My friend Samara emailed me. I wish we had time to squeeze in more candidates. We really don't. But she said David Wilson Brown, the Democratic nominee in the 10th Congressional District in North Carolina, is great. Check out his website, DWB for Congress. It's DWB for Congress. David Wilson Brown, progressive guy running a good race there against an incumbent Republican. I hope you'll support him. Let's take a break. Come back from you. Progressive values are the best of American values, and we need to keep fighting for them to save our country.
Don't go anywhere. This is the Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress 127. You've heard Dean's thoughts. Now it's your turn. 866-99-SIRIUS. 866-997-4748. This is the Dean Obeidallah Show
on Sirius XM Progress 127.
And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. Joining us about 15 minutes from now, we're going to take calls. Vanjie Williams is running for Congress in Virginia. If she wins, she will be the first African-American woman ever elected to Congress from the state of Virginia. And yes, it is 2018, in case you were wondering what year this is. Unreal. All right, folks, it's the winter, and in the bedroom, sometimes one person's cold, the other person's warm. We all have our own body temperature clocks. We know that, our own thermometers inside. But Breathable sheets make it all better. And that's what Boll & Branch is selling for this winter season. Flannel sheets just out. They're soft, they're comfortable, and they are breathable. So everybody is happy. Everyone says the right temperature. They come in 14 beautiful patterns. And you can try them 30 nights risk-free. If you don't absolutely love them, you get a full refund, no questions asked. But I sleep on them, and you're going to love them. They're fabulous. They're soft. Every time you wash them, they get softer, and they still look new. They are remarkable sheets. Boll & Branch, Boll and Branch. And if you go there and use promo code DEAN when you check out, type in DEAN, $50 off and free shipping. You can't beat that, my friends. BollandBranch.com. Check it out, $50 off and free shipping for the best sheets you're ever going to get. I'm not kidding. Let's take some calls here. Here is from California. There's so many races. Ed from California. How are you, Ed? Ed?
How's it going, Dean?
Good. How are you, my friend? So what's going on? You went to the voting place? You have a story to share with us.
Well, yeah, I have a story. I got to work, and one of my colleagues came in, and she said, I really had an amazing story this morning. She goes, I was driving to work, and I saw this older lady walking down the side of the road. She was really dressed up, like kind of in a Sunday best. And so I wanted to pull over to see if she needed anything because it was kind of like a long stretch in Redlands. And so she stopped over and she says, can I help you? Do you need to go somewhere? And she says, nope. She says, I'm walking to go place my vote today. She goes, I am going to, and it was about another couple miles that she would have to go. But I just want everyone to know, and she was probably in her early 70s probably.
Wow. Like Matt's
so,
age.
I mean, I was just blown away when I heard that, and for you, the young people out there, they need to understand that this is so important. They need to get out there and vote. This lady was willing to walk, and I don't know how far she was coming from. But, and
do you think she was maybe an apparition or she was real? You think she was real? Because it sounds like some apparition.
No, she was a real person.
No. I don't mean in that sent here to inspire people, because that's why I played the Oprah clip where Oprah talked about very bluntly the sacrifice, not by choice, because they were African Americans just wanting to vote. They didn't want to die. Yeah. But they were killed by white supremacists, people who would be supporting Donald Trump today. There's no doubt about that. And so there's so much more here. And for President Obama to be like really blunt, goes, I know every politician said this is the most important election of your life. But he goes, but this one really is. And it is. We feel it. And I don't know about you, but I feel it palpably that this is, the stakes are high. And that Judgment Day for me, I mean that. And it's beyond, it's not just Crossroads. Crossroads is too like blasé. It's beyond that. This is really big for our nation. Where are we going as a nation? Where's our nation's soul? Where are we heading?
Yeah, but I just wanted to let everyone know. I mean, this lady, she decided she was going to walk, and my friend Patty said she was going to, take her wherever, and she said, no, I want to walk. She goes, I'm walking to place my vote today. That's great.
By the way, so what are you seeing in terms of politics in your area? Are you seeing enthusiasm, more signs, more activity, people canvassing?
I am. I mean, I'm in a blue state, but I'm in a red town. Okay. And so it's interesting because, it's like the old adage, on the south side of the tracks, that's mostly Hispanic, and on the north side is mostly all the white people. Right. And it's interesting because the Hispanics are coming out. They're waking up, and the all the other, the transgender and gays and people are waking up because they know this is important. And I'm excited for Saturday, for Tuesday. I'm excited for Saturday. I believe we're going to get the Senate back. I think it's going to be very tight, but I think we have a very good chance. And I think it's going to be Arizona, Texas, and Nevada. That's the three.
Well, the next call I'm going to take is from Texas, someone who's saying what he's seeing on the ground, because all of our hearts are rooting for Beto O'Rourke in the Senate races. And so that's really, if somehow we win Texas, we could win the Senate back. But you have to hang on to, Claire McCaskill's got to hang on in Missouri. I don't think Heidi Heitkamp's going to hang on. But look, we could win Arizona. Kristen Sinema can win there. Jackie Rosen could win in Nevada. That is possible. Bill Nelson looks like it's not a definite Florida, but a pretty decent shot to retain his seat there. And in a time a few weeks ago, I didn't think he was going to. Not Devin, but I think Andrew Gillum on that ticket as the gubernatorial candidate is brought an enthusiasm for Bill Nelson that Bill Nelson didn't have. And
but I just don't understand. Like the Indians, how can anyone, Democrat, Republican, think it's okay to deny someone a vote, especially, they voted before. They just voted in the primary and it was okay.
Right.
And I just don't understand how anyone could think that that's okay. I have a hard time, Dean, I really have a hard time understanding people that say it's okay to prevent people from voting. It's okay to deny them. I don't understand.
But these are the same people who said it was okay to separate children from their mothers at the border. These are the same people who said it's okay to say there should be a complete and total shutdown of Muslims. They're the same people who demonize Mexicans, as rapists, who say it's okay to ban transgender Americans from our military. These are not people that we share values with, Ed. I mean, there's a fun people. I was on radio today in Canada, on SiriusXM Canada. I was a guest, and the host said, "Well, can't you find common ground with Trumpers?" I go, "There's probably some who aren't real Trumpers. They didn't want Hillary or something, but the real Trumpers." What values do I share? I don't want to stand shoulder to shoulder with somebody who's okay with racism and bigotry and sexism. I don't want to. I don't want to hang out with them. Don't want to talk to them. We share this land called the United States of America. You live your life, I'll live mine. But I don't want them as an ally. I want nothing to do with them.
Yeah, I agree.
And so,
you can't.
That's a different thing. Those people are really Trumpers. There's nothing I can do.
But that's what gets me. Is like, how I'm really having a hard time. Like, I wish I lived in some of those places where, because I would be there protesting and defending. I mean, because we have a lot of Indian reservations here in Southern California,
right?
And I mean, there's an uproar, and but to not let somebody just because they don't have an address, all this stuff they're making up, and all I could say. Republicans, if you really care, if you really are not afraid, then let everybody vote and see what happens. And prove your case.
Ed, they're not. I agree. So, all right, Ed, let me go to Javier in Texas.
Thanks
for the
hearing
update.
So
thanks very much. Let's see. Here's Javier in Texas. Javier, you're still there?
I'm right here, brother.
Thank you, my friend. So tell us what your state. I think 2 callers last night. We have on a candidate, Lori Birch from Texas' 3rd Congressional District. She's a Democrat. Is going to be on at the top of the hour from your state. What are you seeing in Texas?
Hey, man. All I'm seeing is Beto O'Rourke signs all over the goddamn place. I'm telling you, I don't know what these pollsters, who are they polling? They ain't polled me.
Right.
But I've been to his rallies, shitloads of people. And guess what? I'm going to give you a little side note here. I went to the rally in Fort Worth like 2 or 3 days before his second debate. And, man, shitloads of people at that park getting wet, listening to this man. Awesome guy. I managed to talk to him. He's so personable, man.
Right.
He's awesome. Anyways,
so
I don't want to take credit for this.
Right.
I don't want to take credit for this, but it's kind of maybe like a nod. I told him that if Ted Cruz during the debate tries to ball him up with some bullshit lies of his, don't pay attention to say, look, this man is lying, but here's what I'm going to do for you, Texas. He didn't say it quite like that, but he did call him lying Ted. I'm not sure
he did.
Heard me, because don't worry, I will.
By the way, Ted, lying piece of garbage, Ted Cruz. A guy, did anybody like if someone made fun of my wife's face and said my dad killed JFK, we're never going to be friends. And I think in Texas, you don't. But today, Ted Cruz, by the way, tweeted out, I'm not kidding, I'm looking at it right now, that Beto, and you guys call him, how do you pronounce it? It's not, we keep saying Beto O'Rourke, but it's really Beto? Or how do you say it in Texas? Beto. Ted Cruz today said about the caravan and Beto, he said, did your campaign dollars illegally fund their coming to America? So Ted Cruz literally on Twitter, I'm reading the tweet, accused Beto O'Rourke of funding the caravan. I mean, it had been George Soros up until yesterday, and now it's O'Rourke doing it.
Isn't that ironic, coming from a Canadian-born son of a Cuban? Some of these Cubans, I'm telling you, y'all Cubans out there, forgive me, but some of your Cubans are cooning out to these Republicans. You need to start doing that. Latinos, you need to stop cooning out to the Republicans and stand up for your people, man. For every Nazi rally that you hear, you got to be outraged out in the street and telling all these fascist white people, I'm not going to be your political whipping boy. You need to stand up. And I tell you what, these fascists, there are some good white people out there, but some of these fascist white Trump supporters, we need to put them in check and let them know that they have no moral grounds to tell us, okay, that we don't belong here. This is occupied northern Mexico. This was taken by force. Just like the lands from the Indians were taken by force, like that previous caller was telling you about not letting the Indians vote. Lakota Indians. Lakota Indians. There was a great speaker for the Means. I forget his first name. I think his last name was Means. He was talking about the genocide they were doing with those people, the shit food they would give them. They would take kids from them. They had the highest incident. So these white men set the how do you call it? They set the
bar, the standard?
Not the standards. They set the conditions, and then they turn around and say, "Oh, it's not my fault." Bullshit. We are the original people of this goddamn country. How they have no moral right to tell us where we should be. This is our territory, and I'm telling you, Latinos, you better stand up and wake up, because we are a minority majority state. Is that right?
I think Texas, right? I mean, if everyone, right?
We should rule this motherfucker.
I agree with you. You really should, and you should be having so much elected officials representing your community that look like your community, that they're from your community, not just allies. And they're doing everything they could in Texas to have voter ID laws and restrictions to suppress the vote of people of color. And the number one affected were Latinos in your state. That's what I read in the statistics.
This is a state, Dean. This is a state where politicians pick the voters. The voters don't pick the politicians. So gerrymandered or whatever.
Oh, that's a great way. That's a great phrase, my friend. The politicians pick their voters. And you're absolutely right. That's a great way of summing up voter ID laws and the extreme partisan gerrymandering.
Absolutely, man. And that's why it's an outrage for me to see some of my Latinos wanting to belong, tuning out to these Republicans.
Don't do that. All right, Latino, you hear from Javier. I got to go to a break, Javier, because we have so many guests coming up. But thank you for your call. Thanks for the update. We're looking at your state, Texas. To me, my heart. I've met Beto twice here in New York.
I don't know how he can lose here, man. I'm telling you.
Well, get everybody out. You got a few days. You got everyone out. All your friends, family, everyone. Push them out. Talk to everyone. Everyone in Texas. Come on, make this happen. There's so many states. Stacey Abrams in Georgia, and Andrew Gillum around the nation. Joe Donnelly in Indiana. We got to win. All right, Javier. Nice chatting with my friend. I appreciate it. Let's take a quick break. Come right back after this. Look, it's time the media start calling out Trump's false statements for what they are. Lies. Trump is a liar. And by the looks of it, he's lying every day and twice on Sundays.
The Dean Obeidallah Show.